My name is Ava Caroline Mercer. I'm 29, and for 4 years I have paid every bill on time, kept the peace with my neighbors, and learned the delicate choreography of living alone without feeling lonely. Some days I even got it right. My boyfriend Ethan says my apartment sounds like me, quiet but stubborn, a place that forgives you after hard days if you make tea and open a window. The renewal envelope is cream-papered and polite, the kind of official that doesn't need to raise its voice. I slit it open with a butter knife while my kettle rattles. The steam sighs. I'm already imagining the boring relief of signing and scanning when my eyes snag on a line that should be plain as water and instead tastes like metal. Co-Tenant, Jessica Marie Mercer. I blink. The letters don't rearrange themselves into cents. They don't evaporate. It's still there. My sister's name perched beside mine as if it has always lived there, as if the last 4 years were a rehearsal for this line to finally be spoken. For a full minute, I do nothing except hold the page like a live wire. Then the kettle finishes screaming, and I don't turn it off. It just fades. I dial Michael, my landlord, who has always been brisk and fair, never fussy. Hey, Michael, it's Ava. I think there's a mistake on my renewal. It lists my sister as a co-tenant. She doesn't live here and never has. A careful pause, paper rustle on his end. Ava, I thought you knew. Your parents came by my office 2 weeks ago with the paperwork. They said they have power of attorney and that Jessica would be moving in to help, provide support. Support, I repeat, like I'm trying the word on and it doesn't fit. What paperwork? They brought documents, notarized. I ran them past my attorney before proceeding. I stand very still, as if motion might make everything worse. Michael, I never gave them power of attorney, over anything. I didn't sign that. Another pause, longer. Are you saying the documents were fraudulent? I'm saying I'm a fully competent adult with a full-time job and zero need for supervision. The steadiness of my voice surprises me, and I'm saying those papers aren't real. He exhales. Okay, bring your ID and anything relevant. We'll put a hold on the renewal and issue a corrected one if it checks out. Come tomorrow? Tomorrow, I echo and we hang up. The kitchen goes quiet except for the kettle settling like an old man into a chair. My phone buzzes. Ethan. A photo of a lopsided airport sandwich and flight delayed. Miss you. How's your morning? I take a picture of the lease line, the name, and delete it before sending. I don't want the image saved anywhere else in the world. Weird. We'll call you tonight, I text instead. I call Patricia, my mother, because I can't not. She answers on the third ring, voice bright enough to make my teeth ache. Ava, did you get the envelopes? Everything's moving along. Isn't that wonderful? What did you do? The words come out quieter than the feeling. We arranged for Jessica to move in, she says, as if announcing a brunch reservation. You work such long hours. We hardly hear from you. It will be good to have someone around to make sure you're eating properly. You can't add someone to my lease. My hand shakes. I flatten it on the counter. And what is this about power of attorney? Oh, sweetheart, don't be dramatic. Families help each other. Your father and I... Put Dad on the phone. A click of air, and then Robert arrives like a closed door. Ava, we made a decision. Your sister needs a place, and you have the space. This is what family does. You forged legal documents, I say. My voice doesn't shake now. It drops. That's fraud. We did no such thing, he answers, crisp. We facilitated an arrangement in everyone's best interest. The matter is settled. He hangs up. After, there's the frantic, unglamorous part of survival. Pulling out files, checking signatures, confirming what I already know. There is no POA, no permission slip signed by younger me, who doubted herself enough to hand over her life. I forward the situation to my personal email with a subject line that reads like a scream disguised as a label. Lease. Forgery risk. Then I sit down and make a list like Sarah, a lawyer I haven't met yet, once suggested in an article about boundaries. What I can control today: locks, bank two-factor, credit freeze, originals of ID, work contact, Christine in HR, preemptively, landlord appointment, lawyer consult. My phone buzzes again. Ethan. Also random. Maya DM'd me, says she heard someone in your family is worried about you. Thought it was weird. You good? Maya, his ex, the one who still likes his band videos months late at night. I stare at the screen. The word worried looks like a staged bruise. I'm fine. Call later, I reply. A lie told for triage. The next morning, I sit in Michael's office under a framed print of a lighthouse that's trying very hard to be comforting. He takes my driver's license, the last 3 years of rent receipts, my employment verification, a notarized statement I got on my lunch break that says I've never granted anyone POA and that my mind is my own. He reads, the way careful men do. Finally, he looks up, remorse written across his face. Ava, I'm sorry. Your parents were convincing. The documents looked legitimate. I'm issuing a corrected lease with only your name while my lawyer reviews this. If those papers are forged, you should consider legal action. A small part of me wants to say I don't do courtrooms. I do headphones and bug fixes and recipes taped inside cupboard doors. But I nod. I have a consult this afternoon. On the sidewalk, the city is rude and forgiving. I let it jostle me back into myself. Sarah Mitchell's office smells like lemon and printed paper. She listens without interrupting, then lifts the forged POA copy I photographed on Michael's desk phone. The notary seal is bad, she says, almost gently, like a doctor. This is fraud and forgery. They used it to alter your housing contract. That's multiple felonies. What if I don't want them arrested? What if I just want them to stop? Sarah's eyes are kind without being soft. People don't plan something this elaborate and then stop because you asked nicely. My recommendation, cease and desist now. Prepare documentation for a police report. We can hold it until you decide to file. I nod. Preparation is a kind of mercy you offer your future self. That night, Patricia comes to my door. The peephole turns her into a gently warped version of my mother, as if we are both underwater. Ava, honey, open up so we can talk like adults. No, please leave. Ava Caroline Mercer, she says, deploying all 3 names like they're a spell. Open this door. If you don't leave, I'll call the police. She gasps as if I slapped the word police across her cheek. On your own mother? After everything? After fraud, I say, and I hate that my voice breaks on the last consonant. I have a lawyer. You have 60 seconds to leave. She lingers. The way the storm hesitates on the map, then recedes. I lean my forehead against the cool of the door and listen to the absence she leaves behind. Sarah's cease and desist goes out Thursday morning. By Friday, Sarah calls to say my mother rang her office threatening to sue for interfering with family matters. Sarah told her family matters don't include felonies. I laugh because the alternative is shaking. That night, Ethan finally catches me between emails. He's still at the airport somewhere between gates and apologies. What's going on? He asks, voice quiet like he's trying not to scare a skittish thing. My parents tried to rewrite my life on office stationery, I say. I tell him about Jessica's name on my lease, the fake POA, Michael, Sarah, the door. I leave out Maya because tonight I don't have room for old ghosts wearing new masks. Okay, Ethan says, steady as a countertop. I'm here. I'm not in the room, but I'm here. We'll do this one step at a time. Locks, accounts, the boring heroics. I'll be home Sunday. I've got you. After we hang up, my phone chimes again. A voicemail from my mother, voice syrup sweet and sharpened. I'm worried about you, sweetie. This isn't like you. Maybe you should see someone. It's a small sentence, but it sets a hook. I feel the tug of a story being prepared, one where I'm unstable and they're saints. One where concern is a crowbar. I open my notes app and type a new list. What they're building. Guardianship, HR calls, medical records, an audience. Then I add another title. What I know. I'm competent. I'm employed. My apartment is clean enough for company and messy enough to prove I live here. My name is the only one on my lease that matters. I set both lists to bold and go to sleep with the door latched twice. By morning, everything I own has a password, and every password has a longer password guarding it like a dog with a deeper bark. My apartment door has a new deadbolt. I Google how long it takes a locksmith to change a cylinder and learn there's a difference between safety and the feeling of safety. I buy both. Michael calls at 9. Ava, I've spoken to my attorney. His voice is careful in the way people get when they realize they've stood on something that wasn't floor. We're issuing the corrected renewal today. I'm also placing an internal flag. No changes to your lease unless you appear in person with ID, and even then, I'll call you first. Thank you, I say, and I mean it. He sounds older than last week. He exhales, the sound of paperwork shuffling into a different pile. I've owned this building 20 years. Some families argue about pets and noise. I've never seen a parent bring forged authority to my desk and call it love. There is a tiny, useless part of me that wants to defend them even now. They thought they were helping. I swallow it before it gets loose and starts doing damage. If your lawyer needs statements from me, I'm available. We'll be in touch. He hesitates. Ava, be careful. I spend the rest of the morning doing what Sarah calls boring heroics. I lock down my bank accounts with additional verification. I place a fraud alert with the credit bureaus, as if pinning a note to my own shirt. Do not let anyone take me. I email copies of my driver's license and pay stubs to a folder called Anchors, and take a photo of the folder name because proof of the anchor feels like an anchor too. At lunch, I call Christine in HR before anyone can call her first. Quick heads up in case you ever hear from my family, I say, hands sweating, even though there's nothing on the line but my voice. We're not on speaking terms right now. They've attempted some interference in my housing. Christine is the kind of person who makes the air feel less tight. Thank you for telling me, Ava. I'll note that no one is authorized to request or receive information about you. If you need legal referrals, our employee assistance program can help. And for the record, your performance has been stellar. I didn't know I needed that sentence until it lands. Thank you, I say again, and this time my throat wants to close. On my way back, I pass a storefront mirror and barely recognize the woman reflected. Jaw set, eyes narrowed, like she's studying a map only she can read. My phone buzzes. Ethan again, mid-connection from the airport. A selfie with sun in his eyelashes, a caption. Once I land, I'm yours. Anything you need, just say it. For a moment, I imagine telling him to meet me at my door with a bag and an unbreakable hour. But I don't want to hide behind anyone, not even him. Fly safe, I write. We'll make a plan. Sarah's office is brighter in daylight. She moves through the room like someone who hates wasting it. She's already drafted the cease and desist. This states that any further interference, housing, employment, finances, medical, triggers immediate criminal reporting, she says, sliding papers across the desk as if they're chess moves. It also demands they withdraw any representations of power of attorney, guardianship, co-tenant status, and stop contacting third parties on your behalf. How fast can we send it? It went certified mail an hour ago. She gives me the faintest smile. I prefer to be early. We go through contingencies. If they try to come in person again, call building security, do not open the door. If they call HR, document, document, document. If they attempt medical access, password protect records, instruct providers verbally and in writing, request flags on file. The line between concern and coercion is paperwork, Sarah says. Our job is to stack the right papers higher than their wrong ones. I think about my mother's voice last night, soft with knives. Maybe you should see someone. What if they try to make a case that I'm unstable? I ask. They're already drafting it, in voicemails, in insinuations, Sarah says. So you get ahead of it. Ask your primary care physician to document your baseline health. If you're open to therapy, choose it before they choose it for you. Do it for yourself, not for their story. How did you know? I ask. She shrugs, an efficient movement. People who rely on control learn to stage their concern. I've seen that script. I leave her office with a folder that feels heavier than its paper. Outside, Bangkok's sky is white hot. I'm not sure what city the storyteller meant. I just know the light has the same insistence. I walk until my thoughts catch up. At home, there's a single envelope on my doormat. Michael's corrected lease, my name printed without a shadow. It feels like my own pulse on paper. I sign it and slide it back into the prepaid return sleeve like you'd tuck a child into bed and check twice that the blanket's not covering their face. The doorbell rings at dusk. My heart leaps into my throat because some alarms are muscle memory. I check the video doorbell. A delivery guy, not my mother. He hands me a small padded mailer, the new keypad for my deadbolt. I tip him too much out of relief and install it with a screwdriver, muttering instructions to myself like prayers. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, don't strip the screws, line up the plate, test twice. When it works on the first try, I sit cross-legged on the floor and let myself cry. Not from fear, though fear is in the mix, but from the way competence can still feel like magic when performance lies have become a family sport. Look at me, I want to tell my younger self. I can keep myself. My phone lights up with a notification from Ethan, a link to an Instagram story. I brace myself as if opening a window in bad weather. It's Maya's account, his ex, with a black screen and white text. Some of us are worried about someone we used to know. Watch out for people who push you away when they need help the most. There are no names, just a scattering of praying hands and heart emojis from people I don't know. One username blinks at me, Patricia Mercer 195. My mother, who swore she barely uses social media, has liked the post. I don't screenshot it. I don't want to make it larger than it is. I do send Ethan a single line. Tell her not to use my life as content. He writes back immediately. On it. Also, she doesn't get to comment on us. I'll handle this cleanly. There's a pause, then, I'm sorry this touches us at all. Cleanly is the word I want. I don't need his apology. I need boundaries that are more than statements. I need them to be architecture. Thank you, I type, and add a period that does a lot of work. At 10, Sarah calls to say the cease and desist was signed for. At 10:30, a voicemail arrives from my mother, her voice shaking in that performative way that sounds like an altar call. Ava, I can't believe you would sick a lawyer on your own family. This is breaking my heart. We're only trying to help. Your father is furious. Call me back and we will sort this before it becomes public. She stresses the word public like it's the violence, not the forgery. There's another voicemail after that, this one from an unknown number that turns out to be Jessica's. What's your problem? She asks, skipping hello entirely. They're just trying to help, and you act like a prison guard. Mom's been crying all day. You have 2 bedrooms. Why can't you just... She stops herself, like she remembered she was supposed to speak a certain way. When she resumes, her tone is choreographed. You're isolating, Ava. That's not healthy. It's such obvious script work that for a second I'm almost impressed. My little sister, who loves messy romances and glitter mascara, has been rehearsing legal phrases she doesn't quite understand. I picture my parents coaching her at the kitchen table, sliding index cards across laminate. I sit at my own table and slide nothing. I let the recording end and then save it to a folder called Evidence. That night, I write to Dr. Anderson through the clinic portal, requesting a wellness appointment and record password. I use even precise language because if this goes where I think it's going, the clean facts will keep me afloat. I sleep with the phone face down. Morning brings the small piece of routines. Yogurt, a plant watered, a line of code solved that bothered me yesterday. My doorbell camera sends a motion alert at 11. A woman pauses at the end of the hall and peers toward my unit like she's reading a nameplate. Long hair, sunglasses, that ragged impatience of someone doing someone else's errand. She doesn't come closer. She lifts her phone and snaps a photo of my door. The deep, sour knowledge settles. Either my mother sent someone to check on me, or Jessica is scouting her own entrance. I message Michael the clip. He replies within minutes. Thanks for the heads up. I'll notify security. For the record, only you are authorized on file. We'll treat hallway loitering as trespass. I could tell myself this is overkill, that no one will escalate. But Sarah's right. People don't build stage sets for plays they don't plan to perform. So I lay sandbags higher. I forward the clip to Sarah, log the time in my document, and then force myself to go for a walk so my body remembers streets exist. When I get back, an email sits in my inbox from a polite address that looks like a lawyer. Chose it. Do not reply at mercercouncil.com. The subject line, accommodation request, family housing. It is 3 paragraphs of confident nonsense on faux letterhead, demanding I accommodate my sister's housing needs forthwith, and threatening civil action if I wrongfully deny her tenancy. I stare at it until the absurdity lifts like a fog and all I can see is the audacity. Then I forward it to Sarah without commentary. She calls laughing so hard she has to restart. Either their lawyer didn't read the facts, she says, or your parents lied to him. This is good for us. Paper trails are oxygen. Outside, the late afternoon turns the hallway window into a light box. I can see dust motes moving like constellations. I can see my apartment reflected back at me. Small, imperfect, mine. Paper did this, I think. Paper put me in jeopardy. Paper is also the thing I'm using to pull myself out. My phone buzzes. Another notification. Maya again. A vague lyric post about people who confuse independence with cruelty. I don't reply. I don't even tell Ethan this time. Some fires go out if you stop fanning them. Supper is simple. Eggs on toast, salt exactly right. I carry my plate to the window where I can watch the little city beyond mine. Hum and forgive itself for the day. When I finish, I wash the single pan and put it away. I put my phone on the charger in the kitchen, where it belongs. I lock the door, twice. In the morning, I'll go to the doctor and get that letter. I'll keep a printed copy in Anchors and another in my bag. I'll ask the receptionist to note the password on my chart and say it back to me. I'll be the sort of boring that keeps people safe. Tonight, I write one last line on a sticky note and press it above my desk. Feeling unsafe doesn't mean you are weak. It means you're awake. Then I turn off the lights and let the apartment be a body around me. Quiet, stubborn, forgiving. It starts with a knock that sounds too confident to be accidental. 3 raps. Pause. Another 3. The rhythm of entitlement. It's Monday, 6:45 p.m. I'm home early, planning to cook for the first time in days. When I open the peephole, Jessica is standing there, hair pulled back, sneakers dusty, a mountain of suitcases at her feet. My stomach sinks like a stone. "Hey, Ava," she chirps, like she's dropping by for coffee. "Can you help me carry the rest of my boxes up?" My body moves before my words do. The door stays shut. "What are you doing here?" She looks genuinely confused. "Moving in. Mom and Dad dropped me off. They said you'd come around." For a second, I think it's a prank. Then I see the determination in her eyes and my skin prickles. "No, Jess, you're not moving in. You're not on the lease." She frowns, digging it into her tote. "Actually, I am." She holds up her phone, showing a photo of the forged lease. "See? My name's right there. And in this state, if I stay here for 30 days, I get tenant rights. I Googled it." It's the kind of confidence only ignorance can buy. "Those papers are fake," I say evenly. She lifts her chin. "That's your claim. Until a court says otherwise, they exist. So, yeah, I'm staying." Her tone, it's rehearsed. I can almost hear Patricia feeding her lines. "Jessica," I say carefully, "if you try to come in, it'll be trespassing. Leave now, or I'll call the police." "Go ahead," she snaps, already sitting cross-legged beside her luggage. "I'll show them my documents." "Fine," I call. When the police arrive, I explain the situation. Jessica repeats her lines like a chant. The older officer sighs, sympathy etched in the wrinkles around his eyes. "This sounds like a civil matter. You'll have to resolve it through the courts unless there's an immediate safety issue." "But the documents are forged," I insist. He nods politely, the kind of nod that says his hands are tied. "That may be true, but proving it requires an investigation and a court order. Contact your landlord and your attorney." And just like that, they leave. Jessica smirks. "Told you, you can't kick me out." She drags one suitcase an inch closer to my door. "Don't even think about it," I warn, hand trembling slightly on the knob. She leans back, pulls out her phone. "Fine, I'll wait until you cool off." I retreat inside and dial Sarah. Her voice sharpens immediately. "Do not let her inside under any circumstances. If she sleeps there even once, it becomes exponentially harder to get her out. Right now, she's loitering in the hallway. That's the building's problem. Call Michael." "On it." Michael arrives half an hour later, security guard in tow. His patience is thin. "Ms. Mercer, I'm the property owner. You need to leave immediately." "I'm a tenant," Jessica protests, thrusting her phone forward. Michael doesn't blink. "Those documents are fraudulent. You are not listed on the current lease. You need to vacate now or face trespassing charges." "You can't. This is harassment." "You can leave voluntarily or be escorted out. Your choice." After a tense minute, she stands, muttering curses under her breath. Before walking away, she raises her phone to take photos of my door, my nameplate, my face. "You'll regret this, Ava. We'll sue." Michael rubs his forehead as she disappears down the stairwell. "I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. I'll note in our system that no one besides you can make any lease changes. I'll also have security check this floor nightly." When he leaves, I sit on the floor, the adrenaline still shaking me from the inside. That night, the calls start. My phone vibrates every few minutes. Mom, Dad, then Jessica again. I don't pick up. After the 20th missed call, the voicemails start to stack. Dad's voice, clipped and furious. "You embarrassed your sister tonight. This is unacceptable." Mom, soft and trembling. "Please, Ava, just talk to us. You're being so unreasonable. We're worried about you." Then quieter, slower. "This isn't like you. Maybe you should see someone." That one chills me, because it's not about conversation anymore. It's a narrative, a setup. I forward all the messages to Sarah. She replies within minutes. "Document everything. They're laying groundwork to challenge your competence." By morning, the next front opens. At 10 a.m., Christine from HR calls. Ava, this is awkward, but I got a phone call from someone claiming to be your mother. She said she's worried about your mental health and asked if we've noticed any changes in your behavior. Oh my God, I whisper. Don't worry, your performance has been outstanding. I just wanted to let you know I'm documenting this and adding a note that no external contact from family is authorized. Also, we have legal resources if you need them. My gratitude cracks into laughter. Christine, thank you. I'm so sorry you got dragged into this. No apology needed. It's not you, it's them. I hang up, shaking again, but this time with a strange sense of validation. They're trying to build a case, but they're leaving fingerprints everywhere. That evening, a new email arrives from Jessica's address, but the voice is unmistakably Patricia's. Dear Ava, I never imagined my own sister would turn against me like this. Mom and Dad were just trying to help both of us. You've become so cold, so selfish. Mom cries every night. Dad is hurt. Please come home for dinner Sunday so we can talk. Family is forever. Love, Jessica. I stare at it until the letters blur. It's not even subtle. It's manipulation dressed as sentiment. I forward it to Sarah. 2 hours later, my phone buzzes again. Unknown number. I almost ignore it, but the text preview freezes me. You can't block family, Ava. We'll always find a way. No signature. I block the number anyway. Friday. A courier delivers a thick envelope stamped from Mercer Family Council, their supposed attorney. The letter demands that I accommodate my sister's housing needs or face a lawsuit. I scan it and send it to Sarah with a single line. You were right. She calls immediately, laughing in disbelief. Their lawyer either has no clue or your parents lied to him. Perfect. Now everything is in writing. We'll file a formal response Monday. By the time we hang up, I feel something unexpected. Clarity. This isn't about family anymore. It's about ownership. They see my life as property they built, and I've changed the locks. That night, Ethan finally makes it back. When I open the door, I nearly collapse against him. He doesn't speak, just holds me until the shaking fades. Then softly, I saw the messages. I'm so sorry, Ava. You didn't do this. He exhales, kissing my hair. I know, but I also know how this feels, to have people twist love into control. We'll handle this, together. He makes tea. We sit in silence, the kind that feels safe, not empty. For the first time in weeks, I let myself breathe like the world might allow it. Later that night, I check my email one more time before bed. Another message pings. This one from Dr. Anderson's office. Dear Ms. Mercer, we received a request to transfer your medical records to another clinic. The authorization form included your mother's signature under a claimed power of attorney. The signature does not match. We are confirming. Did you approve this? My blood runs cold. They're not done. They're escalating. The next morning, the world doesn't feel solid. It feels like a set built overnight. Thin walls, fake windows, lights too bright. I sit at the kitchen table, rereading Dr. Anderson's email until the words lose shape. Someone, my mother, tried to steal my medical identity. I call the clinic immediately. Dr. Anderson's nurse answers, voice calm but tight. We thought it was suspicious. This is the third request we've had for your records in the last 2 weeks. Third, they'd been doing this repeatedly. Within an hour, Dr. Anderson himself calls back. Ava, I want you to come in today. We'll document everything, your mental and physical health, your competency, everything. I'll add a password to your chart so no one can access it without your consent. When I hang up, my hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold my keys. At the clinic, Dr. Anderson takes notes while I explain everything. The forged documents, the fake co-tenant, the harassment, the escalating claims. When I finish, he sets his pen down. Ava, he says gently, I've known you 4 years. You're organized, articulate, and healthy. Whatever they're building, it's not reality. He prints a detailed letter, medical certification of sound mind and body, and hands it to me like a shield. When I walk out into the sunlight, I finally stop feeling paranoid. I start feeling hunted. By Thursday, the envelope arrives. Heavy cream cardstock, blue seal. Circuit Court of Fulton County. Inside, a petition for emergency guardianship filed by Robert and Patricia Mercer. The respondents assert that their daughter, Ava Caroline Mercer, has demonstrated significant decline in mental health, financial judgment, and personal safety. She is refusing reasonable family assistance, making erratic decisions, and living in unsafe conditions. Petitioners request immediate temporary guardianship over her affairs to prevent self-harm or financial exploitation. I can't breathe. They're trying to legally erase me. I call Sarah. She answers on the first ring. It came, didn't it? Yes. Okay, she says, steady. Deep breath. We knew this was possible. We'll file an emergency opposition and request discovery. We have everything we need. Your employment, finances, medical proof, HR records, landlord statements. You're protected, but you have to stay calm. I laugh, hollow. Calm is expensive. I can't afford it. Then let me buy it for you, Sarah says. I'll handle the filing. You focus on being undeniable. The next 3 weeks are a blur of gathering proof. I compile everything: bank statements, work evaluations, my signed and lease, photos of my apartment, text threads with Michael, emails with HR, even my grocery receipts. Christine writes a character statement describing me as competent, professional, and emotionally stable. Dr. Anderson provides his letter. Ethan adds his own affidavit. Ava manages her life with precision. The only instability she faces is manufactured by others. Each page feels like a brick. I'm building a fortress of fact. Then comes their side. Their petition file includes statements from Jessica, Uncle Richard, their pastor, and 3 family friends. They all parrot the same line. We're concerned for Ava. She's withdrawn, paranoid, and pushing away support. I can almost hear my mother coaching each of them. Sarah flips through the pages and mutters, classic triangulation. They're turning perception into evidence, but we'll dismantle every word. The night before the hearing, Ethan and I rehearse questions over takeout noodles. They're going to say you're isolated, he warns. I'll tell them isolation is safer than manipulation. He smiles faintly. That's the woman I know. When I finally crawl into bed, I can't sleep. My brain loops one thought. They want to make me disappear on paper. The courthouse smells like disinfectant and nerves. Sarah meets me in the lobby. Crisp suit, binder clutched like a sword. Remember, she says softly, don't let them bait you. They want you emotional. Stay calm, factual, grounded. The courtroom is smaller than I imagined. My parents sit at the petitioner's table, Jessica beside them, eyes glassy. My mother's wearing pearls. My father's jaw is set in righteous stone. When they see me, my mother starts to rise, tears already glinting. Ava, please. Sarah steps forward. Ms. Mercer, you've been instructed not to contact my client. The bailiff directs everyone to sit. Judge Margaret Foster, silver hair pulled into a braid, takes her seat. She begins with a measured voice. This court will determine whether Ms. Mercer requires guardianship over her personal and financial affairs. Petitioners, you may proceed. Their lawyer, Donald Harris, the kind of man who polishes his glasses for emphasis, launches into a sermon about filial duty and concerned parents acting in love. Then my mother testifies. She paints a portrait of chaos. I'm forgetting bills, living in a filthy apartment, pushing away everyone who loves her. When the judge asks for evidence, she holds up printed photos of my apartment taken months ago. One night I'd been painting and had a tarp spread across the floor. My father follows, voice stern. We've tried everything. We only want what's best for her. Then Jessica takes the stand. She can't quite meet my eyes. Ava's changed, she says softly. She doesn't trust anyone. She even accused Mom and Dad of crimes. Sarah leans in and whispers, wait for it. Judge Foster tilts her head. Ms. Mercer, did your sister ask you to move into her apartment? Well, no, but Mom and Dad said she needed help. Did they tell you how your name ended up on her lease? Jessica hesitates. They said they took care of it legally. Did you see them forge documents? A flicker of panic. I didn't know all the details. Sarah whispers. And there it is. When it's my turn, I walk to the stand feeling my knees, but not the floor. Sarah's questions are simple. What do you do for a living? I'm a software developer at Brightlink Solutions. I've been there 5 years. Do you pay your bills on time? Yes, always. Do you have any mental health or cognitive conditions impairing your judgment? No. She lets the silence stretch before adding. Would you like to explain why your parents might be doing this? I take a breath that tastes like lightning. Because control looks like love in my family. They can't handle that I don't need them. When they couldn't force my sister into my apartment, they decided to use the legal system instead. The courtroom goes still. Their lawyer tries to rattle me. Ms. Mercer, isn't it true you've cut off contact with your family? Yes, I answer. After they forged legal documents, attempted identity theft, and filed a false guardianship claim. Limiting contact isn't instability, it's survival. He presses, and you call that love? No, I say quietly. I call it boundary. When I step down, my mother is sobbing into a tissue. My father glares, jaw trembling. Judge Foster reviews the evidence for a long, heavy moment. Then she removes her glasses and folds her hands. I've read every document, she begins. Ms. Mercer demonstrates stable employment, sound finances, clean living conditions, and strong community references. The petitioners, however, have submitted unverified claims and appear to have engaged in fraudulent activity, including forged notary documents. My mother gasps. My father starts to protest, but the judge raises her hand. This petition for guardianship is denied. Furthermore, I am ordering the petitioners to cease all contact with Ms. Mercer effective immediately. Any violation will result in contempt charges. Additionally, I am referring the matter of document forgery to the district attorney's office for investigation. The gavel strikes once. It sounds like the first real heartbeat I've had in months. As the courtroom empties, Sarah squeezes my shoulder. You did it, she whispers. I nod, but tears slip out anyway. I didn't win, I say. I just got my life back. Sometimes that's the same thing, she replies. When I finally leave the courthouse, the autumn air smells like rain and asphalt. The clouds are low, soft, forgiving. For the first time in months, I don't look over my shoulder. 3 months. That's how long it's been since the gavel came down and my parents' world, our world, split neatly in two. And somehow I'm still learning what peace sounds like when you've only known its counterfeit. The first week after the hearing, I keep waiting for something to happen, for the phone to ring, for a knock on the door, for my mother's voice to seep through the walls like perfume you can't wash off. But silence arrives instead, awkward, heavy, unfamiliar. It doesn't feel safe at first. It feels empty. Michael texts 2 days later. FYI, your parents came by the lobby today. Security called the police. They're now officially banned from the property. That's how I find out the restraining order was enforced. I don't feel victory, only a strange, aching pity for the people who thought love meant ownership. The district attorney's office does pursue the forgery case. Sarah keeps me updated in short, professional bursts. Charges filed. Plea deal accepted. My parents avoid jail, probation, fines, mandatory counseling. Sarah asks if I'm disappointed. No, I tell her. I didn't want them to rot. I just wanted them to stop. She nods. Then you got what you wanted. That's rarer than you think. A week later, an email arrives from Jessica. A new address. Lowercase name like she's hiding inside it. Ava, I'm sorry. I didn't understand everything they were doing. I thought I was helping. I see now I wasn't. I'm ashamed of how I treated you. I don't expect forgiveness. I just hope you're okay. I read it 3 times. My chest tightens at the part that sounds sincere and flinches at the part that doesn't. I don't reply, not because I hate her, but because silence right now is the cleanest boundary I can draw. Ethan comes over on a Sunday morning with groceries and the quiet kind of patience that doesn't demand to fix you. We cook omelets badly, burning the first one because he keeps kissing my shoulder while I stir. When I tell him about Jessica's email, he nods slowly. You don't owe them closure, he says. I know. You're allowed to heal without witnesses. I smile, small. You sound like my therapist. He grins. She's smart. He's right. Dr. Lee, the therapist Sarah recommended, has been my anchor these past weeks. We talk about control, guilt, generational narratives that masquerade as love. About how people like my parents build entire identities around being needed, and what happens when their children grow up and stop needing. It's not your fault they collapse, Dr. Lee told me last session, but it is your job not to rebuild the cage for them. That line sits in my notebook now, underlined twice. Christine from HR checks in one afternoon, pretending it's about a project deadline. How are you really doing, she asks. Better, I tell her. And it's true. My coat is cleaner, my sleep deeper, my chest lighter. Thank you for standing up for me. Of course, you'd be surprised how many people never get ahead of this kind of manipulation. You handled it brilliantly. Brilliant isn't how it felt. It felt like drowning with receipts. But I thank her anyway. Michael drops by one evening with new lease documents. Purely procedural, he insists. I just thought you might want a fresh copy, he says, smiling kindly. The paper is crisp. One name. Mine. Keep this one safe, he adds. I will. Before he leaves, he says quietly, You know, your story isn't unusual, but the way you faced it, that's the rare part. After he's gone, I sit on the couch, running my fingers along the single line that holds my name. Ava Caroline Mercer. No co-tenant. No supervision. No forged shadow beside me. Sometimes I scroll through old photos on my phone. Family dinners, Christmas mornings, Jessica's 18th birthday. I can almost feel what I used to believe back then, that we were solid, that our chaos was normal. But I've learned something harder and truer. Love without respect is just possession wearing perfume. I print one photo anyway, a blurry one of me and Jessica on a pier, hair tangled by the wind. I pin it to the wall near my desk, not as forgiveness, as a reminder. Once we tried. Ethan's ex, Maya, pops back up once more online, another vague post about people who cut ties with family for attention. I see it, roll my eyes, and close the app. Ethan's already blocked her, his focus clean and simple. When he stays over, we talk about the future in soft outlines. A trip to the coast, maybe moving in together someday, but on our timeline, not anyone else's script. I want to build something that doesn't need permission to exist, I tell him. He kisses my forehead. You already are. Aunt Linda calls every Sunday now. She's the only relative who stood by me through all of it. You know, she says during our last call, some of the family thinks you overreacted, but most of them, they finally see what your parents were capable of. Quietly, they're proud of you. I pause. That makes me sad. Why? Because it took this for them to believe me. Maybe, Linda sighs. But sometimes people only see the bars once you walk out of the cage. Her words stay with me. At night, I keep my doorbell camera footage from that first evening. My mother's face, her hand knocking softly, the moment I said no. I don't watch it often, but I don't delete it either. It's not revenge. It's proof of the moment I chose myself. I'm still healing. Some days I wake up expecting to feel guilt, and when it doesn't come, I almost miss it. Other days, I laugh at how light silence can feel when no one's rehearsing control inside it. My apartment is mine again. My lease reads one name. My reflection looks back without fear. Before bed, I stand by the window and whisper it out loud, just once. I'm not under anyone's guardianship. The city hums below, alive and ordinary. And for the first time, I let the sound of my own life be enough.